All right, guys. So today's video is going to be a little bit longer. I'm going to be covering some things that I have personally noticed been going on within 2022 up until now, dealing with end time prophecy, right? So I'm going to back it up. And for those that haven't really been following what's been going on in like the news or overseas, I'm going to break that down for you. I'm going to split it up into like these 3 or 4 different sections and we'll talk about it, and I'll run you through it real quick. I'm not going to go into a major breakdown of like scripture and the comparison. So if you want to do research on your own, by all means, I encourage you to do so. You'll see that this is all coming from scripture. And then we'll go from there. All right, guys. So the first one that I'm going to be jumping into is the third temple that is being built in Jerusalem. And what I'm referring to is this temple being built on the Temple Mount that is described in the Bible, right? The title of this is A Third Temple is Being Built in Jerusalem. And the Bible declares that a third Jewish temple will be constructed on the Temple Mount. This is a huge deal, right? This is referring to the 3 Abrahamic religions. You have Christianity, Muslims, and Jews, right? They're coming together and they're building one temple that is going to have a church, a synagogue, and a mosque all within inside of it. And this is going to take basically peace from all 3 sides, which is perceived in the Bible. This is all prophesied in the Bible that this is going to take place at some point. And if you scroll down here, I thought this article was pretty cool because it already has the scripture that this is pulled from. And it's referring to the Antichrist showing up in the temple and what's going to take place once this temple is built, right? So I'll read this for you just to kind of speed through it. So the first one is Daniel 1:1-3:1, right? Forces shall be mustered by him, and they shall defile the sanctuary fortress. Then they shall take away the daily sacrifices and place there the abomination of desolation. If you don't know what the abomination of desolation is, that is used in the Bible multiple times referring to the Antichrist or the beast. So if you see that, that's what it's referring to. The next one is going to be 2 Thessalonians 2:3-4. This is the Antichrist when he enters the third temple. It says, "Let no one deceive you by any means, for that day will not come unless the falling away comes first, and the man of sin is revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he sits as God in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God." What this is referring to, right, is this third temple is going to be the throne of Satan, of the Antichrist, right? So it's referring to the son of perdition, which is the Antichrist, exalting himself above God. So he is sitting on this throne in the 3 Abrahamic church temple, right? Exalting himself above all 3 religions, above, the Abrahamic religions, above God and Christianity, above Jesus Christ. So that's what that's referring to. And then you jump into Daniel 9:27. Then he shall confirm a covenant with many for 1 week and a peace treaty with Israel. But in the middle of the week, he shall bring an end to sacrifice and offerings. And on the wing of abominations shall be one who makes desolate, even until the consummation, which is determined, is poured out on the desolate. So he's going to stop all sacrifices to God, basically all worship of God in this third temple. And most likely it will be across the world, is kind of what I'm gathering from that. So that's going to be the third temple, right? We saw this. This was dated July 22. This is when it was like breaking news. All right. So from there, that leads into the next one, which is going to be the red heifers. I don't know if you guys have seen some of this. This is pretty prophetic. It talks about these unblemished heifers that will be in the end times when the third temple is built. They're going to sacrifice these red heifers. These rabbis have seen that these red heifers are unblemished and are ready for sacrificing, right? So we saw this year these 5 red heifers come over from Texas, and the farmers made sure, that they abided by all the Jewish customs, and these heifers were unblemished. And we saw in Numbers, right, it says, this is a requirement of the law that the Lord has commanded. Tell the Israelites to bring you a red heifer without defect or blemish, and that has never been under a yoke. That was Numbers 19:2. So what that's referring to is that, right, that these heifers are unblemished on, when back in the Old Testament, right, when God would ask for a sacrifice, he would want the best of the best, right? No blemishes, no spots, pure. And that's what we're seeing out of this, because we know the Jews still fall under that old covenant like rule, that law. That's what they believe in. So most people are taking this as, when this third temple is built, these heifers are good to go, right? Like they can make that sacrifice to basically authenticate the third temple being built. And they can now announce the opening of the third temple. And so, yeah, that's another big thing that took place this year. So leading into the next thing with this whole third temple, right? This is where it kind of gets hairy. And my interpretation of it isn't as good as it probably should be. But so you have the third temple being built. Let's say it gets finished. There obviously had to be peace between all 3 Abrahamic religions. And then we know at some point that there's going to be a war, right? The Middle East is going to erupt into war. And then this sanctuary, the city of Israel, is going to be destroyed. And we see that in Daniel, the 9:24 through 27, right? And it says, and the people of the prince who is to come shall be destroyed, the city and the sanctuary. Its end shall come with the flood, and to the end there shall be war. So we know that there's going to be a war after this temple is built, right? And then it says, desolations are decreed, and he shall make a strong covenant with many for 1 week. And for half of a week, he shall put an end to sacrifice and offerings. So this is where the Antichrist takes power after there is peace between the 3 Abrahamic religions, right? And then it says, on the wing of an abomination shall come one who makes desolate until decreed, and is poured out for the desolator, referring to the Antichrist, stopping all worship to God. So that has some significance behind it, right? So we're seeing the third temple being built, and then we're seeing the red heifers showing up. And then now we have this guy, we have Benjamin Netanyahu, who is the new prime minister of Israel, and his sole mission, he has come out and said that he wants to create peace, have a peace covenant with the Middle East, which we know is going to lead to the building of the third temple. So you guys are seeing prophecy come to life as we push through 2022 into 2023, right? This one's getting pretty famous, right? So we got this guy named Rav Shlomo, the Jewish Messiah, right? That's what he's being referred to. I'm assuming most of you guys have seen this guy. I'm going to pull him up. This is what he looks like over here. Anyway, this guy is known for how well he knows scripture, right? Jewish scripture, Old Testament scripture. Apparently he's performing miracles. He's apparently healed some people of very fatal illnesses. He's gotten rid of tumors, brain tumors, lots of stuff. So the Jews are now claiming that they have their Messiah, which we know in the end times there are going to be many false messiahs. I think it says it right here in Matthew. Yeah, I had it pulled up. Matthew 24:24. For false Christs and false prophets will arise and perform great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect. Even the elect is referring to even God's people, if possible, which we are seeing because what is he? He's Jewish. Who are God's people? The Israelites, Jewish people, right? They are being led astray by this man, by this antichrist spirit, this false Messiah. And they were just waiting for them to claim him as a Messiah. He's doing everything. They're worshiping him like he is. They're following him around like in the days of Jesus Christ when he was followed around by the crowds. The same thing is going on in Israel right now. So there was actually a couple more things with the Middle East that I wanted to bring up as well. And one of those was the Euphrates River, right? So if anybody's been following the Middle East thing, I'll flip you over. But so this is the Euphrates River. Within only a few years, it has dried up, and it's due to some dams and some other uphill things going on in Turkey. And all this like stuff is being uncovered. These like tombs, they found tomb doors, they found passageways, just weird stuff. And then on top of that, as soon as there was that earthquake in Turkey that was like 7.8 magnitude, and then like a following 7.4, there was a fire that actually happened over the Euphrates River. And it was said that a couple of these tomb doors fell open or cracked open. And yeah, that I thought that was pretty wild too. So I mean, there's just some weird biblical things happening, right? And nobody knows what's going on. Like, people are speculating, but nobody has any clue, right? So I'll end that with the Middle East thing, like I said, and we'll go on to the next. This next clip is pretty crazy, right? And it comes from the days of Noah. And if you read, Genesis or some of the Apocrypha books, like the Book of Enoch, it talks about the animal circles in the days of Noah. And when the animals circled the ark to defend the ark against the sinful people that could not go on the ark, right? Against the abominations or the Nephilim. And now we're seeing these great animal circles from every kind of species, from all over the world. And they're moving in circles for the first time since the days of Noah. And these scientists are saying, oh, it's a form of communication, or they have some brand new zombie disease. And I'm just not buying it, man. Like, what could cause species from all over the world to move in a circular motion in great like appearance like this, right? And they do it for days at a time. Some of these have been doing it for like 13, 14 days. It's crazy. And they're coming out with, like I said, all these crazy reasonings for it. But I don't, like I said, I'm not buying it. But use your discernment. And if you think that's what it is, then by all means believe that. But I don't see it with everything that is lining up in the world right now. It makes more sense to me that it is a divine intervention than simply some scientific explanation. This next clip I'm going to show you is a guy named Joseph Ambrovich. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he is a green engineer. He's been praised by CNN and Biden and the Pope for, being a pioneer in green technology. And he's basically asserted himself as, like the new standard, the new testament, right? Like for God. He basically rewrote these 10 green commandments, walked his happy butt up to Mount Sinai, and then blasphemed right in God's face and said, we don't accept your 10 commandments. And so I took it upon myself to write my own. And he recorded the whole thing. And I'll play the clip for you. It's kind of crazy.
The whole world needs to cut our emissions by half by 2030. And they're not yet. We take these green commandments, we look down to Sharm el-Sheikh, and we're not satisfied.
Man, yeah. Like, I don't understand, bro. It is getting so much more in your face with the blasphemy and the straight up rebellion of God. Like if you look, I made 2 previous videos too. There was a satanic ritual at the Grammys this year that was very in depth, very thought out. There was another one at the at the Super Bowl halftime show, and there was one more in the EU. They had a games where they erected a giant Baal statue. Yeah, guys, so as you can see on screen, there is a giant Baal statue where you can see the whore of Babylon up there riding the bull, right? Like, this is straight out of Revelation. I don't know. Like, I am at loss for words as to like how real this stuff is getting, right? Like, it's freaky. That's the Tower of Babel, right? The Babylon. And they're worshiping this stuff in your face. Like, man, if you can't see this stuff going on, I'm sorry. Like, I don't think I can help you. Like, the only one that can help you is God. I got a couple more recent things that I wanted to talk about. Right, not just the Middle East, but also going on in the United States. And if I flip you over, I'm going to read you the scripture. It's 2 Thessalonians 2:11 out of King James, right? It says, "And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion that they may believe a lie." The reason that I'm bringing this up, right, is back in 2020, the Pentagon released a UFO video, and they acknowledged the existence of UFOs within the State Department. And then now we're in 2023, and we're getting these balloons floating over the United States. And the State Department is now not calling it anything other than, Chinese spy balloon, or possibly now aliens. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because now we're seeing more and more movies about aliens. We're seeing more movies about superheroes with superpowers to heal people, to do all these wonderful and crazy things. And it's almost like they're ramping up for the beast system, right? Or a big delusion that's going to come. And like I read in Thessalonians, right? That it's going to be a great and powerful delusion. Wouldn't it make sense if the Antichrist could possibly be an alien being that comes down, and now these people worship him instead of Christ, right? Like, these are all theories that are going on out there that are they're mirroring what's going on, right? UFOs are now being acknowledged. We have these alien balloons, and the president creates a task force to take out UFOs. That also just came out. You can look that up. Biden created some task force to shoot down unidentified objects. So, I mean, like I said, use your discernment, because we're seeing weird phenomenon going on right now too. The other one that is pretty crazy. Let me look this up real quick. They're talking about making money digital, right? And there's already experimental chips out there that are going into your hand to pay for things, right? You wave your hand over a credit card machine, it verifies your account, and now all of a sudden you are able to pay with your hand, and the government's in total control of your digital money. So to me, it seems like they are 100% preparing for the beast system. Most recently, we had the Grammys, like I was talking about earlier. This was sponsored by Pfizer, obviously a satanic event. We know that the people behind Pfizer, like Bill Gates and Fauci, are for population control. They're for eliminating certain percentages of the population and having, total world domination. They've written theories, papers on this stuff, and it's out there, man. Like, look this stuff up. It's real, and it truly exists. And to make it even weirder, then we had these train derailments happen, right? So there originally was one in East Palestine, Ohio. This one is bizarre. So these train cars are full of chemicals, and the government and the Norfolk Train Company move in, and they think it's a great idea to just set these chemicals on fire, right? And it creates mustard gas, basically killing all these animals in the creeks. There's like sheen in the water. It's bad. Like, they've come out and said they basically nuked this town. And there's rumors that the government is putting wristbands on the citizens, and if they have like an episode, they can come out and like scan their wrist, and it'll tell them all their medical history so that they can give them the best treatment, right? If this does get bad, which it's going to, because this is a bunch of harmful chemicals. But it gets weirder. There was a movie called White Noise that came out right before this train derailment, and it is on Netflix, and the people that played extras in the movie were from East Palestine. Not only that, this movie was based on a train derailment in East Palestine where these chemicals spill and it kills a bunch of people and they have to evacuate. Weird, right? Weird coincidence. Like, it doesn't make sense. So just use this discernment here, right? Like, make a movie, it actually happens. They're getting a kick out of this. You know, the shadow behind the curtain is getting a real kick out of this. This movie was meant to be a comedy, and then it happens in real life. Not only that, not even within a week, there was like 3 other train derailments. We had one in Gothenburg, Nebraska. Then there was another one in Ohio, actually. And then the third one was in Michigan. So this stuff is just getting weird, man. It's getting really weird. You can't make it up. Like, you need to find the Lord if you haven't met him already, because it's only going to get weirder and worse. And that separation between those who believe and don't believe is going to get greater. All right, guys, I got on YouTube Studio. I saw that most of you guys aren't subscribed. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. It'll greatly help out the channel. Leave a like, leave a comment on anything that I brought up in this video. If you got your own idea or theory, I'd gladly make another video on it. We can talk about it and give me something that is good that I can talk about on the next video. So in the meantime, guys, may the Lord watch over you. May he keep you. May he bless you. And I will see you guys very shortly in the next video.